Hi, I'm Kathleen, and you're watching The Music Enthusiast.
Hi, I'm Sarah from Music Enthusiast, and today I'm here with Kathleen. How are you?
Doing good, doing good.
Amazing. I am so excited to be talking to you. Your music is absolutely gorgeous. You played a show in LA last night. How did it go?
It was good. We played Permanent Records Roadhouse, which was a fun venue, and I just asked my close friends and players to hop in, and there are some that are on a lot of the records that will be coming out, and so they know the parts, but it was fun to perform it and just like experiment on stage. And yeah, I don't know, it was a fun venue. And
Yeah, and your new single Phantom Love came out today actually, so happy release day. Did you get to sing the song live last night, and how was that?
yeah, we closed with that, and just like debuted it there. We didn't plan it around the release, it just worked out really great, so we were just like, oh yeah, we have to perform this. We've performed that song once before live. It was nice to have that practice of like arrangement all together, but it's an interesting song to do live because there's a lot of different like focal instruments in the track that happen. Like sometimes it feels like it should just be piano based, sometimes it feels like guitar based, sometimes it feels like it shouldn't have either. I'm excited to continue like rotating how to arrange it live and make it feel, not like you're playing the record like a copy, but to make it feel as alive as I hope that record feels when you listen to it in headphones or whatever.
You have slow piano-esque songs with like Phantom Love, and then there's songs like Can't Sleep and Fever Dream, which are like so powerful and piano, and then going straight to like a whole like powerful song. Like, how do you create your set list to be like a perfect mixture of both?
Well, I just have a lot of moods and I listen to a lot of different kinds of music. Sometimes, all I want to hear is Ethan Gruska's solo project album. Sometimes all I want to hear is like noise electronic. Like sometimes all I want to hear is like cumbia or traditional, like sort of different moods. And so those find their ways into the different songs and moods. But then live, it's really fun because I've done singer-songwriter sets for as long as I've been performing. And so those feel really comfortable to just like play piano, guitar based sets and keep it really simple and intimate. But it gets boring to me, and I don't know, as an audience member watching those things, it's really hard to captivate for a long time with that same, even if the songs are like so good, each one, like your brain just naturally kind of falls asleep. And I don't think that has to do with attention span, like, oh, our shrinking attention spans. It's just like, you get things on your mind, you go here, it's no one's fault. So it's fun to be able to like orchestrate a set list and like time it. So last night we did The Storm Doesn't Care, which we experimented a version with. It's my friend Josh is playing this instrument called the iwi, and it's like a wind synthesizer, and it's very droning and very like spacious and vast. And then I did it kind of a cappella, and it's very slow and emotional. And then like the next song we snap back with like a really high tempo, like sarcastic, sort of like biting song, just like so you're focused and you're in it and you can fall asleep for a minute, but then you're like back awake. That's important to me, keeping that going.
I love that. What is your most fondest musical memory?
Oh wow. I would have to say where I felt like the most like in Never Never Land or whatever about music was I just graduated high school, and I like begged my parents to let me go to the Berklee College of Music songwriter camp.
Yeah.
It was like 3 days or something, and they were just like, why would we do that? Like, but then eventually they let me go, and I went, and I grew up in a town where there weren't any songwriters. There were a couple, but like it wasn't like a city. It was very rural, so it was mostly just me writing songs by myself or with the very few friends I had. So then to go to Berklee and like meet literally hundreds of other teenagers that were just down to stay up all night and day and do nothing but write songs. I was like, I couldn't believe how fun that was. And I still have close relationships with like a few of those people that I met there, and like we still talk all the time, and they're doing great in their careers, and it's really cool to like watch that and know that that's like the sort of beginning point. So I have to say the practice rooms at Berkeley during that summer camp probably.
And I felt like that's so overwhelming, just like so many creative people. And it's like, oh my God, I want to work with everyone and I'm going to get no sleep. Like, did you feel that way as well?
Yeah, did you go to Berkeley?
No, I
Or-
didn't. I absolutely would love to,
You
though.
get to. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's like, I mean, I will say that it was, I don't think I could have gone to college there, like done it all the time. It would be too, like, I love my isolation with songwriting. It's really important to the process, but then to come together in like short, fast bursts that are really powerful and really inspiring is important for the inspiration diet. A
Yeah,
well-balanced meal.
of course. And about Phantom Love, like obviously the song is beautiful. I have it like on all my playlists, like late night drives. It's totally a big one on there now.
Cool. Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about the music video. It's made with artificial intelligence. Apparently, this is like the first time this kind has been used for in like mainstream media.
Yeah, it was working with my friend Peter, and he does a lot of different really amazing digital art and software design and all this very, very in-depth computer art that I am fascinated by, but don't understand how to make. We were talking about working together on like a big picture capacity, and just like I sent him like a bunch of songs, and we went through a bunch of different ideas. And so when the time came, like it was like, okay, we have a release date for Fever Dream. We have like a loose idea. He was kind of like, well, this text to image AI program just got released, for, it's like open source and like anyone can kind of use it. And it was like literally it's like 2 days old or something. And so we're like, fuck yeah, like let's start working with that. So then it's a lot of people. I mean, it's open to everyone now. It's a lot of people are experimenting with it. So I wanted to be like, I don't know, a part of that in some way, because it's definitely going to change things for better, for worse, and for both. But to kind of like stamp it that like this song came out right in the beginning of that. And then like you can look back like in 10, 15, 20 years or whatever and just be like, oh, that's like, it's kind of like looking at like old like digital camera pictures with like the shitty flash and being like thrown back to like middle school or elementary school or whatever those were, and you just remember that feeling so well. And so kind of placing that in that moment, I don't know, but there's a lot of other stuff with that, but that was kind of a little bit of it about it.
And
Anyways.
was the like cover art made with that as well?
Yeah, so we did a bunch of different moods. Like, so what happened, I just filmed a selfie video of like singing along, and then I filmed, I stuck my phone in a plastic bag and stuck some like holes in it, and I hung it on the fan
God,
above my bed. And then just like kind of rolled around in slow motion with the blankets, and it was like moving around capturing that, and then sent that to Peter, and then he processed it with like prompted AI, and that's what made it look beautiful. It did not look beautiful at first. I had a bunch of different moods for that. There was like a cityscape, there was we did like a space theme, and then we did one that the color scheme that I really see with the song is very like bioluminescent blue against black, like very like Neptune in space kind of. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just something about the sonic texture, something about the melodies, like it's just that color palette. So I really wanted to, it looks so beautiful for the video, but it just shifted the mood too much and it was distracting. So in the end, when I was editing it, I decided to keep with just the beige. But then I was excited to reuse that for the single art to just kind of give that. And then on the canvas where it moves, it's like a clip of that video that wasn't used. But yeah, so it's all from the same thing.
And I love the contrast between the beige and then the dark colors. And then also as well, there's like this part that really struck out to me and probably strikes out to everyone else is where your face is like morphed and then like the flowers are like coming out of your face and it's sort of like it's very eerie but like
Yeah.
beautiful. It's like grotesque maybe. Like how would you describe
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think all those things, it's really like, yeah, it's grotesque, but it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Like it's familiar. I mean, it's very uncanny, you know, like it's very, very familiar looking, but I mean, it's crazy. And especially the part that happens like after the second chorus where it kind of zooms into, I guess, the bridge. I don't know what to call that section, but it's like where it gets really vocally and spacey.
Yeah.
But that part where it's like zooms in and then it starts turning, but the way that it's turning is like really confusing for your eye to see because it's not how like our senses perceive information typically. And so it's just, but it's like in the same way. It's just really interesting. Like nothing can do that really, like what
Yeah.
it's happening except for when it's generated in that way. And I don't know if that's limited to AI specifically because that's just like mining from the internet. Like maybe there's other digital programs that, but there's something strange about how it does happen. And yeah, what's interesting too about all the face shots is if you make it really small
Mhm.
or if you blur your eyes when you're watching it, you can see my face like really clearly. It's
Really?
like, yeah, it's like this
That's
crazy
insane.
optical illusion. And it looks like how you can see that's how like the like AI perceives like what we are, you know, it's like
Mhm.
it's kind of like blurry, like it has like bad vision or something. It's so trippy. Yeah, like just try it. That's why it was also cool to do the single art that was so small because like it only works when it's small. And then the bigger
Wow.
you make it, the more detail there is. It's really interesting kind of
Okay,
stuff.
I'll have to like do that right after this interview because
Yeah,
I'm really interested in what it'll look like.
yeah, cool. Yeah.
And yeah, with like AI, like such a weird concept, such like a crazy cool concept. Honestly, the first time I've really heard of AI and it being used is like on TikTok where they're like, oh, asking an AI what the end of the world would look like. But now like
Wow.
you're actually using it for like art, and I think that's super cool.
Thanks. Thanks. Yeah, we're gonna find a lot of uses, like I said, good and bad for it. But also like, I mean, there's a lot of I'm interested to read more about like, I don't know, philosophy surrounding it, because philosophy of technology is always like really grounding in some way
Yeah.
rather than just like squabbling about it on the internet, but which is also important. But I think what's fascinating is like the argument is that, well, AI, it kind of like all it does is you know, spit back things that we told it, like we gave it information. And so like, is that authentic? Is that anyway? And like to an effect, like that is what everything does that's alive. Like we just detect information that we see around us and then we like output it. Like I'm looking at a yellow curtain, I say it back to you like yellow curtain, like I didn't do anything, you know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
that exists with or without me. And then the fact that I say it too. So I'm sure there's a more eloquent way of saying that, but it is kind of interesting how humans, we're not that far off and the internet isn't that far. It's just like a big mirror, like of all the things we've ever done, we put it, not all the things, very limited amount, but a large amount of things we put in the internet and then we ask it to show us what that is. And then it's a mirror that shows us back. I don't know, it's very interesting.
It
So,
is. And before we just start talking about that, the whole interview,
yeah, okay.
what's coming next from you musically?
Yeah, we've got a bunch. After this, there's a few more singles that I'm excited about and just figuring those videos out and visuals. And like, I've been having a lot of fun with the singles sort of like rollout system because I know that for a lot of years it was like, oh no, like we're losing albums because like singles. But it's kind of cool if you look at it. Like for me, it's just very, I love project-based work, you know, and I love deadlines in that capacity. So it's pretty cool to have like, okay, every 4 weeks or 6 weeks we have a song coming out, and then now we need like all this stuff. We need like all these visuals, all these things, and my label is really great about letting me take full control, and like they're there to help, but they don't, they love what I do, and I'm so grateful for that support. And so I just kind of like get to direct, what it is I'm doing, and I love like editing the stuff. So a lot of different songs are coming through that, and a lot of different art. So I like to include the art with the music because I work on it just as much, and the songs are kind of the vehicles, I would say, to getting all of it where it is.
Yeah, totally. And you are also like, you really care about the environment, as honestly everyone should. It's very
I know, it's a weird thing. It's like, yeah.
So what are your favorite things to do to like leave out your carbon footprint?
Living in LA is just, it's so stupid to not buy secondhand because there is the best thing everywhere. Like,
Yeah,
even if there wasn't, I don't know, I can't say this definitively, but like, I can't imagine, it feels so dumb to buy new things.
I feel the same. I feel the same. I
Like,
totally agree.
it just doesn't look right. I mean, unless it's like if I have a friend who makes tables, and like, or if there's like a designer that I really like that's, it's kind of like that. But otherwise, man, it's so great. So yeah, I love vintage shopping and secondhand and furniture and all those things. I don't know. I think what I like to do and practice is just figuring out efficient ways for things to not be single use.
Yeah.
Because like on a systematic level, like a lot of the problems with the climate crisis are just like creating, it's not just making single use plastics, it's like the philosophy that allows for things to be built to be wasted. Like there isn't such a thing as waste in nature. Like any dead leaf puts, nitrogen back into the soil, puts it back into, like there's no such thing as waste. Like something is feeding something at all times. And so like when we have a system of waste, so on my day-to-day, it's just like finding out, different uses for different things, and like, which drives my partner insane because we have like thousands of glasses and like strange bottles everywhere, and he's like, oh my god, can we not just have our kitchen back? And I'm like, but what about all the pieces? So yeah, I guess that's kind of vague, but I think trying to figure out like larger patterns definitely occupies a lot of my brain, and when I come across things like that are blatantly aligned with like mass consumerism or celebrity culture or like all these things that just generate so much waste, it's like, okay, some things we have to align or we have to do, but there's smarter ways to do it. Sometimes affordably, sometimes you have to invest a little more, sometimes you can't do it at all, but maybe next time you can. Those are really vague answers. I don't know other specifics, but I think about that a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And just like secondhand shopping, like I feel like it's just more rewarding when you find something that like is so cute and you'll never find again, because
Yeah.
there's only one of them in store. Like,
Totally.
think of it.
Yeah, and it's a treasure hunt.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I don't know, some people are like, oh, I get so overwhelmed when I go in, and I'm like, what? It's the best. I don't know. For me, I always look at the fabrics. It's like, if it's a good fabric, it doesn't matter the size, the cut, doesn't matter anything. It'll look good. Like the chances of it looking good. But if you're looking for like a t-shirt that kind of looks like this, you'll get so lost. But it's like, if you are feeling for fabrics and they're good quality, then it'll look good. I don't know.
Amazing. And my last question for you is, who are your favorite artists right now?
Oh man, I've been on a big John Hopkins kick, like musically. I love Agnes Obel. I love listening to a lot of Massive Attack, a lot of this like trip hop generally, and I've been listening to a lot of Sun Ra at our place. Overall, I've been really into ambient electronic sort of stuff. I've been reading To Paradise by Hanya Yanagihara, and it's just, I'm almost done. In fact, after this interview, I'm going to start reading it again. I was so close, and it's like really inspiring a lot of different thoughts. I don't know, I recommend it really highly. It's super dark and really conceivable. Have you read it?
I have not. What is it about, actually? I've never heard of it.
Here, I'll grab it. One second. It's like called To Paradise. It's really thick, as you can tell. But it's about she wrote it like she started. I watched a couple interviews, but she started writing it just before the pandemic, and then during the pandemic. So it's very inspired. There's a lot of like it's a lot about like illness, pandemics, but it's also about, I don't know, I'm gonna have to take a sec to think about it, but it's divided into 3 stories. One is in the 1800s, one is in the 1900s, and then the other is in the future, like the 2090s, 2050s sort of stuff. And it goes through a lot of different voices and tones, but most of the characters in the books are there. So the country is divided into different ways. Okay, I'm getting too involved in this, but most of the characters are gay, or like it's questions sexuality, whiteness, you know, being like wealth gap, like it talks about a lot of issues that, you know, we've been discussing as a body of thinkers, but in a really effortless, you know, lived way. And then it also incorporates pandemics and all these different things. I don't know, it's a really good book.
Awesome.
That's been inspiring.
I will totally read it. I have like 20 books to read. They're like all on my floor, but it'll be added to the list.
Yeah, it's a meat eater. It's kind of slow to start, but it's worth it.
Amazing. Well, it was so nice chatting with you. It was so nice to meet you. Absolutely adore your new songs and can't wait for the next ones. So thank you so much again.
Right on. Thanks so much, Sarah.